Start with the second part, that is macrosomia. So what is macrosomia? Actually, here as we discussed, it's a diabetic mother, right? So in the diabetic mother there will be hyperglycemia, right? So because of hyperglycemia, this same blood is passing to the fetus. So in the fetus also you will observe hyperglycemia. Okay, so this is mother, this is fetus. So fetus also there is hyperglycemia. So because of this, what happen? The fetus will start producing more insulin because there is more glucose now. So it should need to clear this more glucose into the cells. So it will start increasing more insulin. So because of this more insulin, what happens? Actually insulin is a growth hormone. Like it's like similar to growth hormone because it will lead to growth of the fetus. So because of this, there is more growth in the fetus, and this more growth in the fetus is nothing but called as macrosomia. So the macrosomia is because of diabetic mother, which is transferring to the fetus. So actually what happens is there is a accumulation of fat around the abdomen and also chest. That is macrosomia. So here the weight of the fetus is increased because the growth of the fetus is increased. The weight is increased like about or equal to 4 kg. So you can see now the fetus is like about 4 kg. And especially this is most commonly seen in a male fetus. So a mother carrying a male fetus which is greater than 4 kgs, and there is more fat around abdomen and shoulder. So how to determine this macrosomia? Actually we do an USG, that is ultrasound parameter, that the abdominal circumference. We mainly say abdominal circumference because as we said there is fat around the stomach and the shoulder. So this abdominal circumference, if it is greater than or equal to 35 centimeters, then it is macrosomia. So such a heavy baby, big baby, that 4 kgs, male fetus, greater than 35 centimeters, and this is macrosomia. So because of this high weight, usually the fetus oxygen capacity is not able to give this much oxygen for this baby now. So that will lead to hypoxia, and sometimes it may also lead to stillbirth because there is hypoxia, because there is more oxygen requirement here. So in diabetic mother there may be even stillbirth when the oxygen requirement is very high and the body is not able to compensate it. So diabetic pregnancy, another reason for diabetic pregnancy is it increased glucose is increased. So because of this increased glucose, there is edema in placenta, this edema in placenta and also in chorionic villi. So in chorionic villi and placenta you see edema. Why this is happening? This is also called as hydropic edema because of more water entering, because of more glucose in a diabetic mother, the more water is entering into the placenta, that is leading to hydropic placenta edema, and also in the chorionic villi there is edema. So because of this edema there is less blood reaching to the fetus. As we know, when the blood is reaching the fetus is low, then even the oxygen reaching the fetus is also low. So this is also one of the reason for the stillbirth. Okay, and next coming to vaginal delivery. So what about vaginal delivery in this case? So the vaginal delivery in the case of a fetus with macrosomia can lead to shoulder dystocia. Shoulder dystocia, what is this? Actually, as we said, there is more fat around abdomen and more fat around shoulder because of macrosomia. So now what happens? It is very difficult in vaginal delivery to drag the shoulder out because around the shoulder there is a lot of fat. Okay, so now let us see what is the indication for performing a C-section. So for the C-section or cesarean section, what are the indications of macrosomia? So the weight of the baby is greater than 4.5. Usually we said it is 4 kg. If it is more weighted than 4.5, then we can't do a normal delivery, we need to do a cesarean section. And sometimes it may be also go above like 5 kgs. In this case also we need to do a cesarean section. Of course here 4.5 in diabetic mother. Here of course greater than 5 kg but non-diabetic. Even though non-diabetic, that much weight we can't do vaginal delivery. So it's better to do cesarean section. Because the problem for vaginal delivery is the shoulder, around the shoulder the fat is more. So only head comes out, shoulders doesn't come out, then the baby is struck and that may lead to again stillbirth. Okay, so what is shoulder dystocia? Let us discuss it out in detail. So shoulder dystocia, what is this? So shoulder dystocia is a difficulty in delivery of shoulder. So here the diagnosis is greater than 1 minute, greater than or equal to 1 minute the child has passed after delivery, especially fetal head, and the shoulder is not delivered. So this sign is called as turtle sign. Turtle sign means only the head is out and that head is also hanging like this downward like a turtle. You know how the turtle will be, the body will be like this and the head will be like somewhat hanging outward, like so same, that sign is called turtle sign. Okay, so what are the risk factors for this turtle sign? You can remember the word DOPA. What is this DOPA? D for diabetic mother, diabetic pregnancy. O for obesity mother and obesity fetus, both are conditions of the shoulder dystocia. And another P for post-dated pregnancy. Post-dated means according to the date they are not going pregnancy, that is post-dated pregnancy. And A means anencephaly. So what happens in anencephaly? Here the problem in anencephaly is the cervix is still not completely dilated but the head is coming out. So this is called as pseudo shoulder dystocia. So you need to differentiate between shoulder dystocia and pseudo shoulder dystocia. So in shoulder dystocia, already the head has come out, that is greater than or equal to 1 minute, but still there is no delivery, that is turtle sign. What are the risk factors here? DOPA. D means diabetic mother, O means obesity in the mother and also in the fetus, P means post-dated pregnancy, A means anencephaly. In anencephaly, you will see a pseudo shoulder dystocia, that is, here the cervix is still not dilated, means the cervix is still not ready to the delivery. But even though the cervix is not ready, the head is coming out from the cervix. So the head is stuck there and the shoulder is very fat, so it is not able to come. This is the pseudo shoulder dystocia. Okay, and now coming to management. So how to manage this kind of shoulder dystocia? Here the mnemonic is helper. So what is this helper? Use double R. Okay, so helper, here H means call for help. So first we need to call for help for some of people. Okay, and next is do not give fundal pressure. Okay, and E stands for episiotomy. We will give episiotomy. Remember H, call for someone help. E for episiotomy, and help for legs maneuver. What we do in the legs maneuver is Mech Roberts maneuver. So what is this Mech Roberts maneuver? Actually it's a first and best maneuver in shoulder dystocia. The legs of the female are flexed against her abdomen and then they are abducted. They are pressed against the abdomen and then abducted. That is the Mech Robot maneuver. And next coming to P. P is a suprapubic pressure. We need to give suprapubic pressure along the Mech Robot maneuver. And E comes to enter maneuver. That is rotate the shoulder, Wood's corkscrew method or Rubin maneuver. We will try to rotate the head to try to get it out from the cervix. That is enter maneuver. And R is removal of posterior arm. We put our hand inside the vagina and remove the posterior arm. And another R is roll over the patient on all the four limbs, and that is called as Gaskin all four maneuver. Okay, this is Gaskin all four maneuver. So this is helper. All this helper we do. Even after doing this helper, if the still is not baby is not able to deliver out, then we'll do the last step. The last step is Zivanelli maneuver. So the last step is Zivanelli maneuver. Okay, so this is the steps we need to do in shoulder dystocia. Okay, helper. First call for help is episiotomy. L is for what? L is for legs maneuver, that is Mech Robot maneuver. And P is for suprapubic pressure. Another E is for enter maneuver, rotate the shoulder, Wood's corkscrew, Rubin maneuver. R is for removal of posterior arm. Another R is for roll over the all four limbs, that is Gaskin all four maneuver. And the last step is Zivanelli maneuver. So what is not done in shoulder dystocia? First one is cladotomy, that is we need to not fracture the clavicle. And one more is symphotomy, that is we not need to open the pubic symphysis division of the maternal, okay, mom. So what is the most common fetal complication in this condition? Okay, and the most common fetal complication is rupture or damage of brachial plexus. So when brachial plexus is damaged, that will lead to Erb's paralysis in the baby. Okay, Erb's paralysis in the baby is seen. It's a most common fetal in the case of fetal distress, most common fetal complication which we see in shoulder dystocia, that is brachial plexus is damaged, that is leading to Erb's paralysis. What is the most common maternal complication? In maternal, we see postpartum hemorrhage. And what is the most common nerve injured in mech robots? That is when you are pushing your thighs together. So lateral cutaneous nerve of thigh may get affected because you are flexing the thighs and abducting them, right? So lateral cutaneous nerve may get affected. So these are very important. Most common fetal affected is brachial plexus leading to Erb's palsy, that is Erb's paralysis. Most common maternal affected is postpartum hemorrhage, and most common nerve affected in mech robots maneuver is lateral cutaneous nerve of thigh. So finally, let us discuss the delay lung maturity. So in diabetic mothers, there is delay lung maturity. Why? Let us check out. That is mainly because of increased insulin. As we discussed, insulin is increased, growth is increased, so macrosomia. Now insulin is increased, what happened? Decreased surfactant synthesis. So in the lung, whenever there is more insulin, the surfactant production is decreased. So because of this, there is delay in lung maturation. So delay in lung maturation is because of again insulin. Why there is more insulin? Because of diabetic mother. As a mother is having more diabetes, the hyperglycemia followed by fetus. So because of that, more insulin, because of that, less surfactant. So the best test to detect the long maturity of fetus of diabetic mother is best test to see whether the lung is matured or not is phosphatidyl glycerol evaluation. Very important, phosphatidyl glycerol evaluation is done whether to see the surfactant is still formed or not in the lung. So if present in amniotic fluid, then it is lung maturity. Okay. So preterm delivery and early term delivery are not done in a diabetic mother. Why? Because we check this lung maturity. Preterm delivery means less than 37 weeks or between 37 to 38 weeks plus 6 days will not do normally delivery in the case of diabetic mother. Why? Because very important, preterm and early term delivery are not done in diabetic mother because still the lung may not mature. Okay, so only after lung maturity we will do this. That is, for that we will check by phosphatidyl glycerol evaluation. Next, coming to IUGR. IUGR means intrauterine growth restriction. This is uncommon in diabetic mothers, okay, but it's seen in diabetic vasculopathy. In diabetic vasculopathy mothers we may see this, and also uteroplacental insufficiency. Okay, in this case also we may see unexplained stillbirth. There is another case, that is unexplained stillbirth. We can't explain how the stillbirth is. That is uncontrolled hyperglycemia. If a mother is having more diabetes, that is uncontrolled hyperglycemia, very high hyperglycemia, in that case the osmotic distension and edema of chorionic villi will increase a lot. So because of that, there is low oxygen supply to the fetus and leading to the stillbirth. So stillbirth is nothing but when the oxygen is dropped. Why oxygen is dropped here? Because the mother is more diabetic, and that is leading to more edema in the placenta, more edema in the chorionic villi, low blood supply to the fetus leading to stillbirth. So it is seen in both gestational diabetes and overt diabetes, because we know sometimes in the gestational diabetes also the mother may have more diabetes, and that will lead to swelling of placenta, low oxygen, and lead to stillbirth. So stillbirth can be seen both in gestational and pre-gestational, or you can say overt term diabetes. Overt diabetes, right? So by this we completed second part. Next we'll do with our third part and end this diabetes in pregnancy.